On August 23rd, we're going to have a new moon in Virgo, and this is actually the first of two new moons in Virgo, and this new moon is bound to cause much disruption and enlightenment, if you ask me. Now, this first new moon is happening at 0 degrees, and the second new moon in Virgo will be a solar eclipse, in fact, at the end of September, which will happen at 29 degrees. Now, this symbolically is a lunation that bookends Virgo, opening with raw entrance and closing with an eclipse at that anaretic degree. Think of this as a ritual of beginnings and endings within the same sign. Now, I made a really big video maybe 5 or so days ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it actually has been doing really well here on YouTube, and I was debating if I should even make another video on this new moon, but I did promise in that video that I would expand a little bit more on some things, and I definitely want to talk about the square to Uranus that this new moon coming August 23rd will be bringing to this lunation cycle. But overall, this is not your typical lunation because of this massive, rare bookend moment. This is actually very critical, in fact. The 0 degree in astrology of any zodiac sign is the critical degree, okay? Where the last degree of any zodiac sign is the anaretic degree. So essentially, that first degree, that 0 degree, if you will, is the initiatory threshold energy. It is the purest embodiment of the zodiacal archetype. So whenever a planet crosses over into a new zodiac sign, whenever we have a full moon there, whenever we have a new moon there, it is said to be extra potent, if you ask me, in this birthing of whatever that theme of life is for you. So wherever Virgo is in your birth chart, think of it as this powerful blast of new beginnings, because we're talking about a new moon here. We're talking about a massive seeding, a initiatory moment where we can really get smacked in the face with something there that is asking us to focus, to get analytical, to get strategic in potentially our actions that we are taking there. Now, when I talk more about the Decan and the tarot card association with this particular Decan and lunation cycle, some of what I just said there will make a little bit more sense. And of course, if you are a long-time subscriber or a viewer of my most recent video, then you probably already know what Decan and what tarot card we're going to talk about. But again, I don't want to make this video 1,000 minutes long. Again, famous last words. And I know so many of you love when I talk for a long time here, and most of my videos are quite long, but I already talked for almost 30 minutes on this last lunation. And I really just want to touch on a few more points, guys, because to be quite honest, I'm preparing for the September video right now, and it is absolutely insane. So be prepared for probably a 40+ minute video for September coming within the next week. But that being said, this is a critical new moon because we are literally igniting a fire in Virgo that is bound to change the trajectory of anything that has been going on in Virgo for you, all of the placements that you have in Virgo, anything that's aspecting anything else that's connected to the Virgo part of your birth chart. And we can expect this wrapping up of old karma and birthing of some new I don't want to just say karma, but new fate that can lead to new destinies. And for me, I just know that I am very much shedding a lot of old ways of being and thinking and existing and operating in that Virgo part of my life, wherever that whole sign house is in your chart, my chart. And I could already sense this new future for me that is bound to start manifesting itself. So this is actually a really great new moon cycle and eclipse season, by the way, especially for the Virgo stuff, because of this bookend, because of this powerful story. for some astrological magic. And I'm actually going to provide a little bit of insight on some astrological magic involving some just things maybe you can consider doing. And again, astrological magic has a whole tradition in itself built into it, and it's a very serious thing. But I think all of us can partake in just some very basic intention setting and very basic talisman making, potentially, if you want to get crafty out there. But again, I don't want to talk about it too seriously, because again, that could be a whole video in itself. But again, my friends, this is a bookend new moon cycle where we're dealing with that critical degree. We're dealing with that anaretic degree. There is going to be a massive culmination, an ending, and karmic pivot. That is something very important to note. That's a good grouping of words there. Karmic pivot. So we're starting with that 0 degree, this upcoming new moon, where we most likely will be hit with a blast of some inspiration, intuitive understanding, something we know we need to take very strategic and focused action on, and maybe even recognize this will take some time, that this won't be an overnight process, but we know that something is unfolding that is much more profound and maybe something that we didn't expect. Because again, the squares to Uranus for this new moon it's very intense. I mean, Uranus right now is at 1 degree Gemini. Okay. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is now flying direct through Leo. And I believe Mercury is at either 12 or 14 degrees Leo at this point. I think it might be 12, but it'll be on the screen. So Mercury is still very much influencing the Leo part of our life. So, we have to pay attention to that. That Leo, after everything that it's taught us there, is very much involved in the story, kind of, because of the rulership, So that all being said, this is a new moon that very much needs our attention, very much needs our focus and care, because this will define a very large piece of our future. Now, before I move on, my friends, I would like to just say that if you are enjoying this video thus far, or any of the videos on my channel, I would love if you could consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, leaving a comment. Comments are beautiful. I read all of them, my friends. Share anything you'd like on this new moon, what you feel might be coming for you, what is going on in that Virgo part of your life. Because all the engagement here really helps the channel's growth, and I feel so blessed that I could be here for you as a voice of musing, reflecting, and teaching, So and if you'd like to connect with me at all for a reading, I have availability now open in September. So links down below if you want to cruise over to my website. I actually put up a whole new area on the website where you can learn about the Decans course that I'll be teaching actually over the winter. And if you want to just go over there and check it out. Like, I'm still editing my website a little bit because I'm really getting things in order to promote the course, I guess you can say. So if you want to go over there and cruise around and check out the website, it's kind of getting a little bit of a makeover these days. But that being said, guys, again, go watch the other video I put out last week. I really, really dove deep into this lunation cycle, the upcoming eclipse. Of course, next month, I'm going to talk about the eclipse. Of course, in the August forecast, I'm going to talk about the eclipse even further. But I want to really just hone in on the Uranus square, okay? But first, I need to review the decan that this is falling in, because, that's what I do most of the time here on the channel, is really dive deep into the decans, into the tarot card symbolism. So the first decan of Virgo is ruled by the sun, okay? The 8 of Pentacles is the card that rules this decan. So again, when I kept saying to you guys about how this new moon really is about awakening and starting something that very much requires apprenticeship, refinement, discipline, and laboring towards mastery. And that last decan of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, of a decan that has decanic dignity, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury as a whole, and that is associated with the 10 of Pentacles. We really are talking about that ending of something, the culmination of some aspect of our life, which is the Virgo whole sign house, that theme of life for you. So again, this new moon is birthing a moment for refinement, discipline, strategic action, taking strategic steps forward and focusing on something that can be built, okay, but very meticulously and very illuminating. So again, the sun's rulership here emphasizes illumination through skill, the light of awareness applied to practical detail. Unlike Leo, where the sun shines naturally, in Virgo's first decan, the sun asks for effort, humility, and refinement. So again, we're all going to feel, I believe, this burst of newness, of understanding that we are going to need to trailblaze our way forward and conclude a massive old story. Because again, yes, the 10 of Pentacles that's coming with the solar eclipse at the end of September is kind of a moment of culmination. You know, it is an ending. Okay. It can be an ending where we reflect on a lot of great things that we had to go through in life there in order for us to now embark on a new journey. Or this can be an abrupt ending because of Uranus here, where this new moon might suddenly bring you something that either is going to cataclysmically end something. And again, I'm not saying that in a dangerous or hardcore way, in a bad way. I'm just saying we're going to have these sudden realizations with this new moon that will play it into a role with the eclipse that very much ties into these very powerful endings. So again, this new moon and this solar eclipse to come will provide us that bookend, beginning and ending, okay, where we very much need to focus and really get serious about what we are trying to do there in that part of our life, because this isn't a time to play around, okay? So we really are in a process where devotion is going to be very necessary. Devoting ourselves to something that needs order, organization, repetition, and our complete and utter attention for us to get to the heart of facts, where we can use more of our mind now to get things done, okay? So, like I've been telling a lot of you guys, you know, we really are in a time where getting analytical and intellectual is really going to help us navigate the new futures that we are trying to build. Or if anything is being taken away from you, this is a really powerful moment in time where we have to get mentally strong and really put in the daily effort into things if we are going to get clarity in some of the things we're going through, to get, more intellectually sharp, if you will, because there's a lot of energy in the air that needs our intellectual attention in order to solve problems. Now, this square to Uranus is, I believe, some tension for Virgo's desire for order and Gemini's chaos of multiplicity. So Virgo says perfect the details, where Uranus is going to say disrupt the system, scatter information, and reinvent communication. So I can't stress enough how important the understanding is of like the sudden insight and the sudden changes that will most likely hit our consciousness that the Virgo part of our life may not enjoy, but at the same time, it may also enjoy it because we are going to have that understanding that this shift and pivot is so freaking necessary. So, and again, I think we're going to want to get to work. I think we're going to want to roll up our sleeves and just say, hey, like I know I kind of went through a dark time right now, maybe recently in the Virgo part of my life or anything going on in that sector, or I feel it's time to put those old stories to rest because now I have to really pick myself up. I have to get focused. I need to do my homework on something. I need to start researching a new subject to learn. I need to get strong again. Okay, and really dedicate myself to something where I can focus. Because again, some of you, I know some of you commented in my last video that you're going through maybe some of a hard time and in the Virgo part of your life. And I would say, try your best to find something to focus on and wait for this Uranus square rather, to come into play and to provide whatever that sudden insight and that sudden shock of, mental chaos might bring you. And I'm not saying that in a negative way necessarily. I just think we always have to be prepared to navigate the things that come abruptly into our life. But I think we're going to be able to use this energy, and it's going to help us grow tremendously. So the magic of this square can be harnessed for creative breakthroughs. So that's the positive thing. Okay. Creative breakthroughs. And we don't have to be an artist to have a creative breakthrough. This can simply just be getting a massive insight on something we need to embark on. And how can we use that newness to strategically get to work and strategically put those actions into motion? Now, some astrological magic recommendations, my friends. Timing. Work at or shortly after the new moon. Okay? Light a candle, gold or yellow or white, to represent the decan that this will fall in. The sun. Okay? Offer rosemary, marigold, or solar herbs potentially for this. Those are all very much associated with the sun. And I think that that is very helpful. That could be very helpful to do, I don't know, sprinkle some of that stuff on your altar. Maybe go outside and plant some of that in the ground during the hour of the new moon. And petition for clarity in your craft or illumination in your studies. Or whatever it is in your life that is arising with this new moon, with this new beginning, this urge, this sense of newness, this sense of, wow, I need to begin this sense of, wow, I need to really focus my mind on this now. Ask for clarity. Ask that this new moon brings you illumination in your path forward. So when it comes to divination now, if you want to pull literally the Eight of Pentacles out of your tarot deck, I would say meditate on this card throughout the course of the new moon and let it speak to you. You know, I believe, yes, we need to know the interpretation and the symbolism for sure from an academic perspective, what the Eight of Pentacles represents. But sometimes when we stare long enough at the card, we notice things that maybe we never noticed before. Or maybe on that particular day, you notice something in that card that is not something you noticed the last time you looked at it. Now, I think that this can be a very powerful moment. Okay. And I know a lot of you have tarot card rituals, but when it comes to doing decan work sometimes, especially if we want to incorporate the magical correspondences of the tarot, just pulling that card and examining it specifically on the day of this new moon can be very helpful. And you can be surprised on the insights you gain from that. Now, just to close off, this is a new moon. That is a threshold moment, calling us into initiation through discipline. So that's really the big takeaway, guys. Initiation through discipline that will lead us through Virgo season until we get to that ending of Virgo season, which will end with the 29-degree anaretic degree solar eclipse, which then we will have to meditate on the 10 of Pentacles. Okay. Now on the world stage, I don't want to get into it. I talked a little bit about that in a prior video, the one I did last week. So go watch that again if you would like to see some of those insights. But this is going to bring us a flash of clarity. And this is going to be an initiation that we know we're going to have to get disciplined in. Okay, for some of us who are losing something in the Virgo part of our life, you know, if we feel there's a sense of loss there, we're going to feel that there's an initiation of a new pasture that we need to move towards. And all I can say to you is recognize this as an initiation. Take those steps forward to trust something that you can do now, that there's a new door opening for you, to embrace the newness of something, okay, to feel a load lifted off of your shoulders, okay, because this is very much an invitation to begin something new with humility and to put effort into. Okay, this is a moment for effort. This is a moment to ask yourself, what can I dedicate myself to now? What can I start working on every day? What can I continue to build if you are already building something there? And again, I talked about my life in the last video, you know, about my 11th house being a place where this is all happening for me and how I've been very much dedicating myself to collective matters, being more seen on social media, and of course, planning and prepping and working on things behind the scenes that involve teaching. And the 11th house are where I share my life on social media in many ways. And the things that I'm going to be teaching next year are very much being built behind the scenes right now. So my Eight of Pentacles is very much dedicated to what I'm doing right now, as far as building the courses and designing the lessons and all that other stuff. So what are you building? What do you want to build? What do you need to focus on every day? Okay. Now that's all I have for you for this video, my friends. I do apologize for choking a little bit. I feel like I just got a frog in my throat during the course of that video. So I do apologize for any of the, little clearings of the throats there. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the September forecast, excuse me.